And tonight, you're going to learn a few things. And if you don't learn a few things, you're going to hear it a different way. We got an extra special topic tonight. It's about emotions, guys. So what I want you to do, first and foremost, is let me know that you're here. Say hello, even if you're on a replay. I love my replay viewers. And I also want you to share and invite with your friends and family. Men, women, people that are in relationships, people that are dating, people that are single. Share and invite with everybody, right? Let me know you're here. Say hello. I'm going to take about 30 seconds to make sure that we are broadcasting everywhere we need to go. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
All right, we're back. So this is what I want you to do first and foremost, because you know I'm always about letting you guys know what I have to offer and where you can find things. So I'm going to go through a couple of slides here just to make sure you know how to find me, you know, where to go and how to get what, right? So stand on 1 second. I'm going to put a couple of slides up and I want to just let you know what's going on. So, you know, every Wednesday we're here, 8 p.m. Every single Wednesday we got a different topic. We got some amazing guests coming up, and you know, we got some food, some real food for you to kind of chew on and digest. And I try to give it to you in a different way so that you can kind of, you know, so you can kind of work more towards healing. So we're here every single week. Next up, this podcast is not just a video, it's also audio. So you can actually listen to it in the car. You can listen to it on your Alexa device. You can listen to it everywhere you can get stuff. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn. I'm everywhere. So just check that out. I got about, last week I said I had about 400 to get to 6,000 listens, and I have about 250 left. So I need you guys to get on there, support, leave your comments on that. I think Apple lets you comment. So go on there, comment, and leave your little reviews and just do that for me, because I know a lot of you come on here. A lot of people like to listen, but I really need you guys to support me and support this movement here. The Relationship Gumbo is not just a podcast and a life coaching business. It's also a family. I want to make sure you guys feel comfy and safe here when you come here every week. So next thing is, we talked about coaching, one-on-one virtual coaching. You want to talk to me one-on-one? I offer that service as well. And we talk about, you know, it could literally be anything. I just had somebody ask me to do couples coaching. So I literally can touch on just about anything you need. If you need to kind of put some puzzle pieces together and it just don't feel right, something don't feel right in your relationship, or you don't know if you're ready to date again, got some hurdles you need to cross, I can help you put that together. So, and last but not least, apparel. RelationshipGumbo.info is your hub for everything that I just talked about. So if you go there, you can find everything we have, even the shirt I'm wearing tonight. Everything is available 24 hours a day. You can go there and get your merch, and you know, just keep checking out for everything as I update and create new things, because you know I'm always about upping the ante and making sure that you guys have the best product possible. So without further ado, if you're here for the first time, once again, please share and invite with your friends and family. If you're here, say hello. And so if you're here for the first time, the way that this works is, this is also an audio podcast. So I will pause for 3 seconds, start the podcast, and then at the end of the podcast, I will pause for another 3 seconds, and then we'll get out of here. Normally, if we have some extra time and you have some extra questions, we can do that on the other end of the podcast. But lately here, we've been going so good that we haven't had time to do extra questions for probably about a month or two now. So hopefully tonight will be good and you can get what you need in the time that we have. So I see people coming in. Welcome, and stand by. Welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo podcast. My name is Derrick Jones and I am your host. I'm a certified life coach and engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And this topic tonight is near and dear to my heart. And it is for, I would say, men. And it's also going to be powerful for women to listen to, because I'm going to give you some insight. The title is The Most Emotional Person You Might Know. It just might not be a woman. Because we think about emotions and we think about women all the time, and we never really look at what the men go through, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of disclaimers. You know, when I put the disclaimers out, I already know there's going to be some things I touch on tonight that's going to trigger you. You might have an emotional, response to, and I don't want y'all coming for me in the comments. So disclaimer number 1, anything I discuss tonight is for informational purposes only. It is not to condone the behavior. It is simply for you to understand the inner workings of the mind. And also, I just want you guys, let's have a little bit of fun with it. Let's talk about it. Please comment, please ask questions, and I'll get to them if it's appropriate to the topic. But we're gonna get under the hood a little bit. A lot of times you hear about what you should do to fix things, and this is kind of like my brand. You think about how you fix things, and people can tell you how to fix it, but they don't really get into the feels of it and underneath the hood, because that's where the real meat and potatoes is. It's how you feel about things, and that feel and that emotion dictates your behavior. So I try to focus on getting in the guts of the emotion so that we can then look outside of that and try to improve ourselves. So let's get to this, because it's gonna be a little interesting, because y'all know what I do for a living. I'm a troubleshooter, so we're gonna get under the hood a little bit. So emotions in men, right? Like I said earlier, we always kind of tie in women with emotions, but we never really look at, we know, if you've been on this earth a certain amount of years, men have emotions too. You probably may not see it as much, right? And keep, tonight, pay attention to the words that I'm using. They all mean something. You may not see the emotion as much, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. And so a lot of times when we see women react, when we see women show their emotions, we think they go through more emotions than we do as men, or when we look at them. And we go through a lot and mostly all of the same emotions. We just don't talk about it. It looks a little different. It comes from a different place, but it's the same emotions. We deal with rejection. We deal with hurt. We deal with fear. We deal with all of that stuff, just like you do. The difference is our emotional intelligence level may not be as high as yours. And understanding what those emotions mean, and then displaying those emotions and really dealing with those emotions, may not come as easy because of how we're conditioned. Society conditions us to be strong and to take care of stuff and mute it down so don't appear weak. When you live your life being trained that way, when you do start to deal with these things, it's harder for you to show them because you don't want to look away. You don't understand what this emotion means because you've never really had to address it in full. And so when you think about men and how we have to mute and hide our emotions, we're probably better actors than most Oscar winners when it comes to that, right? We put on a good show and we hold it in, and it's mandated. Society's a little different now, but it's mandated that we don't show it all, because we have to be the protector and the provider and all of these things that society says that we should be. And like I said, we're trained that way. Keep a ear open for that word trained. Everything has a meaning tonight. I need you guys to pay attention. When you have someone, and this, everything that I'm going to talk about tonight doesn't necessarily have an order, but it has a purpose, right? Because you guys know, for the most part, I give you my organic self. So things are coming as I speak. There's some things that I have in my head that are bullet points, but it will all make sense in the end. So I need you guys to really share this, because there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming in here. So I use the word trained. We're trained, right? And so a lot of times in relationships, it's like we're trained like boxers are trained, right? And we go into an argument and we're trained to punch. in the argument, not literally. I know it's domestic violence, so we're not talking about that right now. A metaphor or an analogy. We're trained to punch. When we get knocked out, when we come back, a lot of times we're not the same, right? We're not going to show our best effort. We're not going to come in to try to do what we need to do to try to, make that argument turn into something that's productive. So what we tend to do is we as we have been trained to kind of counterpunch and not really work together. We're two opponents because we're built to be competitive, right? Sports and all these other kind of things. Our emotions don't have to come to the forefront when you're a boxer. You can't cry, right? So when you're conditioned that way and you become a master at muting it down, when you do need to release it, pay attention. When you need to release it, with a lot of men, because I'm not going to say all, there's always exceptions. We're trained to find things that cater to our reward system. So we're not going to handle the emotion. We're going to find something that makes us feel good so we don't have to. I need you to catch that. We don't know how to manage or handle our emotions, so we are trained to find other things to make us feel good so that we don't have to deal with it. Because maybe we don't know how. Maybe there's not a safe space for us to share, right? And when you are trained that the way that you handle emotion is by finding something to reward yourself, now you start to look at it a little different. When I feel bad, and this is it's not always men, but we're talking about men tonight. I feel better when I drink. I feel better when I have sex. Doesn't matter who I'm with. If I need to get it, I'm gonna get it because I feel bad and home isn't a safe space for me to share. And I need to go out and reward myself. Right? And when you look at the lifespan of a relationship, when you look at the lifespan of your dating history, a lot of the negative things that happen, especially with communication, comes from a place of not being able to resolve or even know how to deal with those emotions. So you go to what you know best. I'm going to go hang out with the fellas because that makes me feel good. I'm not going to handle this. I'm going to tell you we going to handle it later, but I don't even know how. I don't know. That's not really my thing. So we got to find the dopamine high. And then the significant other wants to know why you don't feel comfortable talking to me. And we talk about this a lot in the show. Over a lot of shows, we talked about this topic of when we sometimes, what women do sometimes, I'm trying to be careful with my words. You hear me pausing. What women do sometimes is when they can't get it out of you, they want to try to take it by force. And when you try to take it by force, someone who does not know or doesn't have a high emotional intelligence, that boxer retreats. Because I'm not going to get punched again. So I'm going to back up and I'm going to let you we're going to just keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving. So what that looks like is if you're in an argument and he doesn't know how to express, and he might be wrong. But even the wrong person, if you're in a relationship and you don't plan on leaving, you have an obligation to come back and try to work it out, right? That's in a perfect world, right? When you feel like, as a man, it is not a safe space, you retreat. And when you retreat, you don't have to deal with the emotion. So what you become, remember I said at the top of the show, Oscar-winning actors. When you retreat, you don't have to deal with the emotion. It's still there. You don't have to deal with it. And the person that's attacking, you feel like you're being attacked. Even if you're wrong, you still feel attacked, right? We don't know the communication game. Now you, as a man, feel Like maybe your manhood was challenged. Maybe your feelings was hurt. Maybe she yelled at you and you didn't know. You can't yell, but I'm a man. I can't do that. What you've done is you've created an environment where you can't share your emotions. You've retreated. And now you have to make the other person feel like things are okay so you don't have to feel like that again. It's an emotion. We're dealing with these emotions just like women are. It just looks a little different. I'm going to keep saying that all night. When you retreat, women know something ain't right. They know maybe things may feel a little different. And they're going to ask you, is everything okay? And what you're going to say as a man is, I'm good. We're good. Now I don't have to deal with the emotion because the thing that I thought was triggering me is now shutting up. And you become a master of shutting people up. But the emotion is still there. And when people say the man, and when we talk about men and needing peace of mind, and he's going to get his peace one way or the other, peace and peace, right? Catch that. They're going to get it one way or another, right? When you are on a quest for peace as a man, it's not always just peace of mind. It's, I need a place to go calm down. But even in the calm down, you're still not dealing with the emotion. You just in a quiet room. You're not dealing with it. The emotion's still there. Pressure cooker, right? Because men have a very unhealthy relationship with stress and pressure. It's pressure to be the provider. It's pressure to be always strong. And if you have a weak moment, you can't show it. It's pressure to take care of stuff and handle stuff. And I'm not saying every man, because there's some men out here that ain't doing anything. But by and large, it's pressure. It's pressure when you go to work. It's pressure when you come home and it's not a safe place for you to share. And you got to keep it in. And so when we say men don't show or have emotions, not true. It may even be more. Because you spent your whole life muting it down. Your whole life. Your whole life. I'm not a young buck. But I didn't learn how to rationalize my emotions the way I needed to until I had a 4 in front of my age. Your whole life. You got to mute it down. And pretend that everything is okay. That's like being in jail. It's like being in jail. And when you're in jail and you have all of those things stacking up over time, over years, you get into a relationship and we hope when you get into it, everything is cool. We happy. We relationship goals. And then you hit that argument, or you didn't take the trash out, or you didn't do, and now you have to be accountable to someone. You still haven't learned how to rationalize those emotions. So even something as simple as why you didn't take the trash out, it's a simple question. Maybe the delivery isn't that great, but it's a simple question. You feel attacked, right? Because you don't even know, or you don't have the ability to say to that person, I'm not feeling good today. You don't have the ability or the intelligence to say, I can't take the trash out because my mind ain't right now. You can't do it because you don't believe that you have a safe space to say that. And so what we do is we internalize your delivery. We internalize the argument. And it doesn't feel good. So we hide it. And we say we're good. It's a pressure cooker. So then what we do is we go to these things that society says we should do. so that we can calm down and shut up and don't worry about dealing with the emotions. Man cave. You go to the man cave, you ain't got to talk about it. This is my space. I'm a chill. I don't got to deal. I'm going to the man cave. We love to have one. It's our space where we do our thing. But I don't have to deal with it. But you do. It's still there. And I'm going to get to some of these comments because I have answers for everything. Because I see the comments scrolling up. I'm going to have to get them before they get away from me. But you have to, men and women have to learn who your audience is. And if you assume as a woman that he's this manly man and he's this emotionalist person, you're going to treat him like that. He'll be all right. We do it with our kids too. He'll be all right. No person is beyond feeling. That's it. No person is beyond feeling. I don't care who you are. You're feeling something. And like I said before in the last couple shows, we go out here and pretend like we can live these emotionless lives and we good. You are a human being. And when you feel pain, it's real. Male or female, it just looks different. So if I'm hurt, if I have a whole bunch of pain, I got to go back to what I know. Remember, I got to go back to going to those things that I had to build up over my life to make me feel good so I don't have to deal with it. Let me go sleep with somebody. I'll feel better. It's all Band-Aids. But while I'm going to do that, think about this. I need you to catch this. I got to go do that to feel better because I don't have the emotional intelligence enough to talk to my wife about it. Because I remember the last 30 arguments that I didn't resolve because I didn't know how to tell her that it hurt my feelings. So now I've become something else. And it's my fault. The wife has a part to play too, but she didn't know because I didn't tell her. And once that space become, and you don't even know that it's happening. Even the man doesn't know it's happening until they realize that they can't release it. And that's why I say it's very important for you to understand who you are. And when you say that you love somebody, this is my best friend. It's your best friend you can't talk to. Because that time when she yelled at you, you didn't like it. And it hurt. She might have called you a bitch. And you can't do anything about it but mute it down. Because you ain't going nowhere. You mute it down 200 times, guess what you become? A placater. You become a master of the bob and weave. She gonna be mad about the trash. Let me throw the trash. I'm not gonna tell her that I'm depressed. But because I don't want her to. I don't want to feel like that again. We all go through it. We all go through it. And again, I say, we build these things, we build these things around ourselves to make us feel good. Because we don't understand. And maybe we do, and we just don't want to deal with it. So the behavior starts to change. Right under your nose. You start to hang out more. You start to sit outside in the driveway for an extra 30 minutes. You start communicating differently. And guess what the woman does? That women's intuition kicks in. Ding, ding, ding. Something ain't right. What are you doing? That you wasn't doing that before. But I can't tell you how I feel. So I gotta gaslight you. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm good. I'm good over here. We good. I just bought you them flowers yesterday. Because I don't know how to give you that emotional dialogue without me feeling weak, because I've been trained that I can't do it. So it becomes this struggle in a relationship. And you know, people always talk about one of the most important things is communication. It becomes this struggle that you got to try to maneuver. And like I always say on most of my shows, we don't have the tools. Nobody told us how to do this, especially men. We got to keep it in. And when you live your whole life that way, then you start to see these men that are like in their 40s and 50s and they're just figuring it out. Just figuring it out at 50. And they're like, you know what? Yo, I'm depressed. I can't handle this no more. That's why the suicide rate in men is so high. Because that pressure cooker, it just keeps it over time. It may take 10 years. It may take 20 years, 30 years. It's building because you're not resolving it. And then guess what you do? Sometimes your lack of communication, your lack of connectivity with your partner, sometimes you end up breaking up. And you still haven't resolved it. And what do? You got to go to what you know. I have to find something to fill it in so that I can feel better, so that I don't have to deal with the emotion. So you get into another one and you're still damaged. And guess what you've also been trained to do? Relationship after relationship. You become the bob and weave king. So now, when you get in a new relationship, you're like, I already know how to do that. Just in case she say this, I'm going to move this way. And the woman is like, oh my God, this guy's perfect for me. He knows what I want. And then you don't really get to see who they are until you start having them arguments and stuff. And then you like, wait, you've been holding on to that. That don't have nothing to do with me. And it's facts. And I know a lot of you ladies on here have seen this in your men. You have problems and you'll say, well, he doesn't really talk that much. He doesn't really share. It's not a requirement to share everything, right? We don't know. People, we're not built that way. But you can acknowledge and say, I need a minute. You can acknowledge and say, I'm not feeling right now. And that's enough for your partner who loves you to say, okay, I hear you. Because it's important that you listen to understand and not react. And so when you dealing with this kind of stuff as a man, like it's dudes, even men, there's some men that were on this show months ago, like the summertime, that was saying, I'm just now figuring out how to be a man, and I'm 47. I'm just now figuring out who I am because I didn't deal with my emotions. And we talked about last week about, if you don't know who Billy and Susie are, I'm going to need you to go back to episode 55, which was last week, because I'm not going to go through that again. You hurt people because the other angle of this man that hurts women is if you go unresolved, you're not going to be well suited to fit in a relationship and you're going to do damage to people. So you have to. And that's why I always talk about therapy. I always talk about coaching. You got to find a way to purge it as a grown man, or you are not suited to be in a relationship with anyone. And I know, like I said, we're trained actors. We're trained to hide it from you. We're trained to hide it from you and make it look good. So you'll never really know. But women know the behavior is different. And when you charge me on the behavior change, I'm going to go into defense mode because you're getting closer to the emotional me. And I dare you to go there because I'm going to fight you for that. Because I keep it close. So I'm going to lie, cheat, steal to maintain what I think is peace. Because if I have to deal with the emotion, I don't know what I'm going to find. So I'd rather keep it in. I'd rather tell you what you want to hear before I have to deal with it. And then the significant other, the woman, or, we're in 2020, whatever you identify as. The other party says, why would you lie to me about where you put the fork in the drawer, in the wrong drawer? Why didn't you just say you just did the wrong thing? Because that confrontation starts to become this little sensitive thing that you don't even want to deal with. So then you become, let's give it a name tonight. It's probably a technical name, but I don't really do a lot of that here because I want you guys to feel it. I don't want to sound like the therapists and all of these other people, they get paid for what they do. But I want you guys to really hear it in layman's terms. You become a person who communicates, what's a good word for it? You communicate for necessity, not because it's something that you should do to grow the relationship. And we always talk about relationship growth on this show. The communication should evolve. The connectivity changes and it should evolve. But if you haven't stepped up your level of communication, because you got to think about it like this. This is why we always talk about, historically about being friends first. Then, you got to, because the friend, I talked about this before, it's supposed to be somebody you can relax with and you can share how you feel with. But we don't do that because we let those little disturbances in the relationship define how we engage. Instead of going back to the foundation of this the person I'm supposed to relax with. Instead, this is the person that hurt my feelings, but I can't tell them that, so I'm going to pretend. What man wants to tell a woman that you hurt my feelings? It doesn't happen normally. Most men aren't going to say, I feel emasculated by you. So you got to keep it in. And that's where the term yes, dear comes from. Because then it becomes our goal not to share, not to communicate. My number one goal on the planet is to shut you up by any means necessary, because then I can maintain my peace. Let me go to the man cave. And then the flip side of this coin is the woman now starts to feel like, I can't talk to him. He's not even going to share anything with me. And I know he's having a rough day. And I don't even know what to do because he's going to react in defense. He's going to be defensive. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to just pick and choose my battles. I'm going to just he said he cool. He cool. We just went to the Bahamas last month. I think we happy. We good. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. And then here's the other deficit for you ladies. If you go in and try to make them talk, oh, now you really in for a fight. How dare you come and try to make me share something that I know is going to hurt? It's how we're trained. And a lot of times you don't really see these emotions from men sometimes until something happens to have to make them have to deal with it. And then it kind of like, it's like something snaps. Like a lot of these dudes, they have a daughter, then they turn into a whole different type of dude. And then you're like, wow, there's a whole different type of sensitivity I have now. But before that, or it could be, you know, a death in the family or some kind of major event. But by and large, we're not trained to tell y'all everything. We're just trained to handle it. Handle it. And it's a lot of women out here that are in relationships that the man may be trying to give you hints or try to share, and you like, handle that. I've seen it many times. Personally, I've seen it. And it's disheartening because when that person brushes you off, remember that boxer, they're going to retreat because I don't want to get punched again. And a boxer that gets knocked out so many times, he ain't never the same no more. He can go back in that ring shook. So the answer to the problem is I'm just going to avoid the ring and then I don't have to worry about it. I'm staying at work late today. I'm going to go hang out with the fellas 3 times a week, every week. Because we just having fun. Because I need to go to these things to go into my reward center of myself. So I can feel good temporarily so that I don't have to deal with it. So that when I come home to you, you're at least getting a blank slate. And then the woman at home thinks everything is great. Nothing happens out of the blue. I'm going to say that again. Nothing happens out of the blue overnight. Nothing does. Does that man know that this is happening? Maybe yes. Most times, no. But what we do know is we have to purge it by any means necessary. We got to purge that. We know the feeling don't feel good. We may not know what to call it. We know it doesn't feel good. My boss yelled at me today. I don't know what it's going to look like. If I get fired, I can't support the family. Oh, it's COVID and we not going back to work. You got an emotional, sensitive man growing inside during this time because he can't be the thing that society says that he has to be. He can't cry. He got a family to protect. So he's going to keep it in. And he doesn't have anywhere to go to purge it either. And when you say, hey, babe, you haven't been working for 3 months. You okay? Guess what he's going to say? I'm all right. It took me my whole life to be able to sit and say, I can't do it. I gotta spend some time trying to manage how I'm feeling before I can deal with all this other stuff. It's not in our nature to do that. It's hard to realize that you are not capable of putting the world on your back. It's the most disheartening thing. And you guys will never see it. I'm laughing, but I'm not, right? You will never see it. A lot of times what you see, you'll see a lot of anger and frustration. We know how to do that. We experts at showing you that. But the other stuff, nah. So this show tonight is not to excuse any behavior, but I need for you ladies to understand that the person that you're with or the person that you might meet, they're not this one trick pony that you can predict what's going on in there. We feel just like you. It's just not the same. It doesn't look the same because we're trained differently. I'm gonna get to the comments now. A couple of them. Spin City says men need self-care too. Something else I learned late in life, because I was the dude that I needed to handle everything. And it took for me to kind of just, your body starts to talk to you after a while. And then you got to sit down after a while. Like I said, sometimes it takes an event for you to get checked. And then you got to change. Because then you start to think about those things that you're taking care of. And you're like, they won't be taken care of if I'm not here. So I got to be good. So now I have to start to share and let people know how I'm feeling. So I don't pass out. Remember at the top of the show, I said we have a very unhealthy relationship with stress. We think we can take it. So here's a question. Spin City says, how do women make it a safe place? That's a huge question, but I'm going to answer for you. It's not easy. But the one thing that you can do is try your best to be understanding. And even though you know that they may not be receptive to your understanding, we see it. You may not get the reaction you want, but we see it. We know you love us. Understanding. And it's not always the best thing to try to take it from me by force. Sometimes you need to let it marinate a little bit. Sometimes you need to take ownership and say, you know what? I'm not sure what you're going through, but I got it tonight. Just chill out for a minute. I know you saying you good, but I'm going to go ahead and take care of this tonight, whatever that thing is. Next couple of days, I need you to take care of yourself. That in itself, just that little bit of understanding for someone who doesn't know how to share, it's like, it's golden because we know that you feel that something's off and you're acknowledging it even if I'm not telling you. That's that connective tissue. Because as a woman, you want to engage and try to figure out what the hell is the problem. Is it me? As a man, I be doing that. Like, is it me? Like, what's going on? We want to figure it out. Sometimes you need to give it air. And you may not have a man that even ends up sharing everything, but they might call it something different. They may say, I need a minute. They may say, I'm going to lay down, or I'm going to go to the man cave, and then I'm going to be back with you. These are the cues. Because a lot of times we don't know what to call it. And likewise, we should be doing the same for you. But 9 times out of 10, we gonna know how y'all feel. We don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out, when y'all be like, I'm fine. Everything's cool. We know it ain't cool. You gotta be into, you gotta know, pay attention to those cues. And that's where the balance comes in. Because as a woman, that man is trained. A lot of men, not all, because I know it's some leeches out here. When that man comes home and says, I had a rough day. And granted, women work too. And y'all have a lot like this. That's a whole nother show about the balance, because it's way off, because we expect certain things from you guys and we just want to come home and sit down while y'all doing all that stuff, right? That's a whole nother show. We're not talking about that right now. When you have those cues, it's not just a rough day for us. It's our inability to be strong. It's our inability to take care of home because we dealing with it. So when you say, I know you had a rough day, I had a rough day too, it's times 10 for him. Because it takes him out of his masculine energy. It takes him out of his control. And you have to pay attention to those cues. When you see the behavior change, it's always not necessarily a negative thing. It's a cue for you to say, I'm here for you. I'm not going to attack you and try to pull it out of you. I just want you to know I'm here when you're ready to talk about it. I'm going to go to a couple comments. Joseph Going says, exactly, understanding. I have preached that ad nauseum in every relationship in which I've ever been. That and patience. Exactly. And he says also, or I need to take a walk. I was in a relationship fresh out of college where I had to do that all the time because it would have been worse if I didn't take that walk. So, and Jaquita Ellis Jones says, right, pay attention. Y'all know we are emotional creatures. So, if you're really in love, if you're really like ride or die on both sides, you're responsible for understanding and knowing what those cues are, and knowing that his cues are not going to look like yours. He's trained differently. It may not be as verbose. It may be one word, maybe two words, mean the same thing. We're going to tell it to you a different way, because if we become too verbose, then it starts to not look manly. So we're going to say things like, I need to take a walk. I had a rough day. Give me a minute. And then there's a lot of us that don't even say that. We just go ahead and just go ham and just do everything we need to do, and we pass out one day. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but it can happen. And the older you get, your body will start to tell you something ain't right. And it will shut you down. And it will continue to shut you down until you understand that you need to purge. And you need to purge verbally too. But guess what? Throughout this whole journey we took tonight, we talked about home being a safe place. Communication being something that's fair. Not too many of us that have fair communications in our home, right? When you can achieve that, that's the holy grail. To argue and listen, to understand and not react. It's the hardest thing to do, but it's the easiest thing to do. And when we listen and we don't negate the other person, when you negate a man's feelings in an argument, it's over. Then you're going to start hearing, you got it. What you want me to do? When you stomp on a woman's emotions, they may have the same reaction, but by and large, you're going to know. With a man, he just going, all right, cool. Is that it? Because if I have to dig deep to talk about and handle how you just made me feel, it might turn into something else. So I'd rather just I'm going to keep it. But it's not just I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it from every argument, because that first couple arguments made me feel a way. So I don't even want to feel. So I'm just going to keep them all. I'm going to keep it all. It's not healthy, guys. Once you understand, and I'm going to read, maybe Joseph is going to say what I'm about to say, but he says emotional intelligence is an underrated superpower, and it's often harder for women to exercise it with us because so many of us men don't say how we feel, leading to things festering and becoming walking time bomb. He took the words out of my mouth. Emotional intelligence. They even have tests online. I think it's EQ, emotional quotient, instead of IQ. They have tests to kind of measure, like, you know, what your emotional intelligence level is. So if you want to look that up, you can just look up emotional quotient or EQ test. And when you get to a point where you understand and how to adjust and maneuver because you understand those feelings, it's like the sky opens up and you hope that your partner understands where you are in that. So when they start to hear different things, and you start to maneuver away in order to keep yourself healthy, that they'll be understanding enough to take that ride with you so that you can be healthier. Because I don't care who you are. You can talk that I'm a manly man, I'm an alpha male and all this, and I'm nobody can shake me. You're a liar. You are a human. And it's going to come out one way or another. And like I said, you're going to see anger from us all day long. We can do that in our sleep. You're going to see that emotion. We good at that. All the other stuff though, I got to keep that close. You get in there, you might find something you don't like. I may find something I don't like. I'm scared to touch those emotions. Because if I do, then I really got to tap into who I really am. I think I'm going to do another show about, I think I might even done it. I've done so many shows. Being attached versus being compatible. You may find out that you're not compatible. You may find out that that person will never understand. And you got to live with them for the rest of your life. Ouch. So you got to think about that. I ain't going to be on here too much longer because I always tell you I'm by myself. I'm not going to do a 2-hour show. But think about that. I didn't hit everything. But I need you guys to feel this because you may or may not know it. Even if you're single, maybe you got some tools now that you didn't have. If you're in a relationship or a marriage, I guarantee you after you get off of here, you're going to think about things a little differently. I use certain words on purpose so that they'll stick in your brain. And it's really about understanding. It's really about understanding that even though he's your rock, he has most emotions and feelings and hurt that you might not even see. Especially when it comes to the things that society says that we have to have, like money. You take money away from a dude and I'll show you an emotional dude in 2 seconds. It's how we're built. You take his ability to kind of be around you when he wants to, and he thinks he has kind of control over that. I'll show you an emotional dude. We want what we want sometimes. And that's why I always tell people, like, and I said this before, I keep saying it. We always tout how we can just detach and involve and detach and involve with people and detach. We're not built that way. And if you are able to live an emotion-free life, I'm going to have to check your pulse. Because you might be from another planet, right? Or you have so much trauma that you don't even know how to be emotional anymore. Either way, we still got to check your pulse. Because there's a lot of love out here. There's a lot of caring people out here. And we're supposed to connect with each other. We're supposed to network with each other. We're supposed to date each other. We're supposed to just spend time just getting to know each other and getting to know yourself. Because that's really what this is about. It's about knowing that the other person is a human being and they have emotion, but it's also enough about you having to have the understanding to be able to deal with it now that you know that it's there. Because I guarantee you there's at least 2 people on here tonight that was like, really? So when he come home and he's having a stressful day, it's not just the stressful day from work. It goes against his manhood too. Yep. And guess what? Don't have a few kids, because now you got to go take them to the football game. I ain't got to do all that. I got to go coach. Self-care out the window. Self-care out the window. He needs it too. He gonna lie to you and say he don't, but he does. So, in closing, male and female alike, when you have someone that you really care about and you don't plan on leaving anytime soon, it is your job, it is your duty to create a safe space to share. If you do not have a safe space to share, then you won't have any sharing. And when you don't share, you got to keep it bottled in. And when you keep it bottled in, you will explode. Or you're going to have to find another place to let the steam off. And sometimes that's the danger zone. We don't want to go down that path sometimes because it's some tempting, treacherous things on that path. And for a man, it's worse because we're trained to find the rewards before we deal with the emotion. To go against that DNA, it's tough. That's why, and I never said this in my younger years, it's important to have that partner that you can talk to about most things. Like a friend. If you don't have that, you're always going to be hiding and lying and avoiding. And who wants to live like that every day? Every day. You got to do that. You got to be the duck and dodge king every day. Almost to the point where it becomes second nature. But now you're not yourself anymore. I talk about this all the time. You're not yourself anymore. You're a ducking dodger. You're not a straightforward person that's going to talk about how you feel. You're not going to be yourself. You have now converted into somebody that this your whole job is to make your wife shut up. That's my job now. Let me think about what she's going to do to hurt me before it happens so I can fix it so she thinks everything's cool. That's what you become. Who are you at that point? So I'm not saying to the fellas that you got to go pour your guts out and cry 7 days a week. I'm saying you can give your significant other cues that you need help, that you need time, that you can't deal today. So that partner has the information to understand and to help you through it. Because if you don't believe your partner is worth helping you through those times, then you got to evaluate why you with them. Sorry. See, it's evaluation time. We're not getting any younger. Because that person that don't give a damn about your feelings, when you sick in the hospital, they going to be in the club. I don't know. You got to think about that. So, men, you can do it without looking like a punk. You just got to be able to be in tune with those moments where you're feeling like that and say something as simple as, I'm not good right now. I need some time. And then maybe later you can expound on that with your significant other or a therapist or a coach or somebody that can help you figure out what those things mean. Because a lot of us don't know what they mean. So if you don't know what they mean, you definitely not going to talk about it. And then your wife at home trying to figure out the Rubik's Cube. Like, I don't understand what he's going through. I want to help, but I can't even solve this thing. All you got to do is take the stickers off and put them. No, I'm joking. But y'all get what I'm saying. We can make it better. But it starts with you. That's my closing words. Anybody have any last minute questions? We about to get out of here. Any comments? If not, we're going to close the podcast portion. I appreciate everybody who tunes in every week. I appreciate the new viewers. And make sure you go to www.relationshipgumbo.info to get all of the stuff I talked about at the top of the show, the apparel, the life coaching. You can listen to the audio podcast. You can go look at the YouTube page with the video podcast and just binge the hell out of it. It's a lot of good information, and just check it out. Follow me. It's a lot of exciting things coming up. I know I've been talking about for months about online course about communication and how we navigate for like couples and people in relationships and stuff like that. I'm still trying to figure out what the most efficient way for you guys, the most cost effective way for you guys to get that meat to kind of save you from having to go through some of these things, just by making some little tweaks. And sometimes that tweak is, I just need to understand and not fight. So on that note, we're going to get out of here, and that concludes the podcast portion. All right. That's it, guys. It's time to go. Spin City says, great show. I just be doing this, guys. I really just, I want to thank you again for you guys who are tuning in. I want you guys to invite people to come and check it out. We got some good stuff coming in the next few weeks. I got some great guests coming. I have, all of these things that we kind of need to do, like journaling and I have a CEO of a company that has guided journals that he's going to talk to you about effective communication and how these journals can help you connect better, because writing stuff down is way more powerful than trying to memorize stuff. Right? We got some good stuff, guys. So just stay tuned, stay connected. You got my information. You go to that one site, you get everything. So on that note, it's time to go. You guys have a great night and have an even greater weekend. Good night.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, cause better relationships need better ingredients, so if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in.